Just chase. Dr. Joe Griffin. Yeah. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin. It's Dr. Joe Griffin. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers, 50 to 80% that ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin, yeah. He says recognize trauma, push past the pain. If you got a problem, go look at his frame. Work your perspective and look at it change. Find a goal, set it in critical thing. Manage time, self-awareness. These are the few of the things he's trying to get you to do every day. Do every day. Led 5 schools to increase test scores with his teacher principal collaboration. Things he give to you will have you take you drive to the next level. But first, you need to get some fuel at gas station. Supporting education leaders, creating a culture for kids that'll last for ages. Lack of access to quality professional development, that's outrageous. Got his doctorate in education. Leadership, research, make changes. Need to put the kids first and raise them. Need to teach them they worth, stop playing. Later on, they gon' run this nation. Dr. Joe with his dissertation. Talk to those who would fix, make changes. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intentions. The teaching and talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers.
Great day, leaders. Welcome to the Speaking Life into You Leadership live stream. I am your host, Dr. Joe Griffin, where we talk leadership dynamics, personal and professional growth, educational trends, and we provide solutions to help you with school improvement. Let's go! It is indeed a great day. I hope everyone is tuning in from the place of their choice and that you're just feeling wonderful, that you're getting ready to enjoy a great Labor Day holiday. It's well deserved. Many of you have already begun school, so I know that some of that fatigue hopefully is not kicking in already, but we know what we have to do in order to fight that fatigue. We just got to stay focused. We got to keep going, keep working hard, and you got this. This past weekend, I've been in Chicago, Illinois, and it is indeed has been a blessing. If you follow me on social media or anything like that, you know that I'm always equating real life experiences to what we do as educators. And the reason I was in Chicago this time was for a family reunion. It was indeed a great thing. And I actually be in Chicago again in November, presenting for the Innovative School Summit. So if you are wanting to see some of the DIP leadership in action, make sure you sign up for the Innovative School Summit in Chicago, November 6th through the 9th. But a couple of things that I took from the family reunion experience this weekend. There were over 200 plus Griffins there, right there in Chicago. And I was indeed elated, excited to be there. So a couple of things that I want to equate to the family reunion experience as we continue to create cultures of collaboration throughout our schools and our organizations. One of the things that I took away is that, sure, you can go further alone, but you can go longer together. What I mean by that is, yeah, you can have fast results by yourself, but when you get team members working on the same page, oh my, you could do so much more. And I saw that on display this weekend. Also, relationships have to be formed and developed. And even with the family reunion experience, it's a matter of forming relationships that last, relationships that you can build on and develop and keep growing and coming together. And together, we can accomplish so much. that was the second thing I learned from the family reunion experience this weekend. And I've been going since I was a kid, but as you mature, you start looking at things differently, better, and from different perspectives. And the third thing that I learned is that we can all learn from one another. And this is a reiteration of learned experiences. We can all learn from one another. We're not, no one is above another. We all share ideas. We can grow through each other. And that's what it's all about. That's the nature of collaboration. When we're able to work together, look at our strengths, look at our struggles, bounce them off one another, and learn from one another and grow and be better. So again, that's three things I learned from the family reunion experience this weekend. And let me make sure that I go ahead and make this public on my Facebook as well. You have to go in and do something a little bit differently. So I want to make sure I do that for you. All right. I've got a huge guest today, a wonderful guest today, a young leader, energetic, vibrant. I just happen to have seen her as a young lady in the school system where I was principal at. She was always a standout person, and she has continued to do great things. I want to read a little bit about her before I bring her to the stage today, because I'm extremely proud and I got a chance to actually see her work, so I know what's coming to our platform. As you know, we want to bring value each and every week, give you things that you can take, implement into your organization and make your school environment a more collaborative community. So today we've got Miss Memry Bender. Memry Bender. She's from a small town, Pachuta, Mississippi, but she now resides in Houston, Texas. Holds a bachelor's degree in business and marketing from D. Jackson State University and an MBA from Belhaven University, which is one of my alumni as well. And I know Belhaven doesn't give degrees away. Currently, she's serving as a founding dean of operations. So she's over the operations for her school at Elevate Collegiate Charter in Houston, Texas. Her passion lies in blending business acumen with a commitment to nurturing and supporting young minds. That is a wonderful statement. And with that, I want to bring Miss Memry Bender to the stage. Welcome, 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 Miss Bender. Definitely thank you for joining the Speaking Life into You Leadership live stream. How are you today? And please have a word to open up.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm doing well. Just glad to be here. Excited to be on your podcast. This is super exciting to me. As you know, you were once my principal, so like literally sitting here in this position, I'm honored.
Awesome, awesome. That's good. I um I got an opportunity to come out and see some of the things that you're doing at your school in Houston while I was there on some consulting business with some other things. But I was so impressed with what you had going on, the manner in which you and your organization are operating to put students and teachers in positions to be successful. And I know that you can bring a lot of value to this platform as well. We've had a couple of other district administrators, retired superintendent uh, as well come on. We've got some others coming, but I know that you're just going to add value as well. So I'm just excited to have you here. And to open up, I just want you to maybe share a little bit about your journey from being an English teacher. Let's make that clear. She comes from an ELA background,
Yeah.
which is so different for me because most of the time your operations managers, they've never taught in the school. And I've been principal at charter and public schools, and I've taught in independent schools as well as public schools. So I've never seen an operations manager with an ELA background. And I know there are some out there, don't get it wrong, but that's one, you're one of the first, and I like that. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey from English teacher to being a operations manager, dean of operations?
Oh, so how far back in the journey do you want me to start? Do you want me to start like how I even got into English there? How far do you want me to go back? Because it's a whole thing.
All of that's gonna add value.
Okay.
We got time today.
So I went to Jackson State. My undergrad degree was business and marketing. So I'm fresh out of college. I'm looking for this excellent job. Thinking, oh, I've got my 4-year degree. I'm gonna go and be great, right? At the time, I couldn't find a job anywhere. Like, no, nothing in my field was hiring me. So one of my superintendents from school reached out to me and was like, hey, how you doing? Have you ever thought about considering this? Just checking in on you. Notice that you graduated college. Is this something you ever considered doing? Think about it. If so, here are the steps that you should take. And then once you do so, let me know. So at the time, after, trying all other things and, not things just not going the way that I thought they would, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finally try and see what happens. So I followed those steps. That's what opened the door for me to education. From there, I was able to become an English teacher at my high school alma mater. So I taught 7th grade English for 2.5, almost 3 years. It was a rewarding but yet different experience, I can say. Again, like, I had never gone to school for teaching. This is not what I had saw for myself in life at all. But they say you want to make God laugh, tell him what you got planned, right? So here I am, just trying to figure it out, doing the things that I saw, who I thought were great teachers in my life, doing some of the same things that I saw them trying to do, but also completely novice, like not a thing. I'm also maybe 21 years old. My students are 12 and 13. So that was also, that was also pretty rough. They threw me to the wolves. Okay. So that was it was a pretty rough journey, one that kind of at the time had me questioning, like, is this the right thing for me? Like, I'm not quite sure if I can reach these students. I don't know if I have what it takes. I started doubting myself. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I originally tried to do, which was business. I'm going to move somewhere else. I'm going to move to a place where business is booming, right? But at the same time, I'm a true Southern girl, so I need to stay in the South. So I decided to move to Houston, Texas, right? I go to Houston. I'm like, oh, Houston's number 4. It's the largest city in America, number 4, like number 3 for Fortune 500 companies. So all in my head, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is where it's at. I'm gonna go here and everything will be great. Also at the time, I've now enrolled into my graduate program at Belhaven, and at the time, I'm like, Houston has to be for me because Belhaven just so happens to have a campus in Houston, right? So what are the odds of that? So I enroll in Belhaven. I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is all working in my favor. So hey, this must be this has to be the right thing for me. All right, I graduate. In the meantime of me like going to grad school and different things like that, I have like little smaller end jobs, things that not necessarily career jobs. So then I come out of grad school. I'm fresh out of grad school. And at this time, I'm like, oh, yes, I got my master's in business now. Oh, any company will be glad to have me. They'll hire me. So I'm doing my job applications, Doc. I'm doing my job applications. And literally the only thing they're telling me is, oh, this is great, but we want someone with 10 years experience. I'm like, well, dang, I got 4 years undergrad, another 2 years, working on a master's program. Like, what more do y'all want from me, So I'm like, oh my goodness. And at the time, the only thing that is like actually working for me is if I'm on Indeed, I'm applying any school that I apply for, they're calling me back instantly. I'm talking about instant calls. So I'm like, you know what? hey, I still gotta feed myself. I still gotta make ends meet. I'll go back into education. So I started getting into the charter world. I worked for a school called SST Advancement. This is what literally I'd never been in charter world before. I'm a public school kid, a super rural public school kid at that. I knew nothing of charters. I'm from Mississippi. It's not charter friendly. Like
Right.
this was a total different thing, total different design for me. So I started working at SSC Advancement, which is a pretty large charter here in Texas. They are the sister school to Harmony Public Schools. So
Okay.
they've been around for a while. When I started working for SSC, they had only been open for a year. So I technically was doing a lot of founding work there. I originally was hired as their GT teacher, which was gifted and talented. So I'm like, okay. At the same time, I'm like, oh God, you were so funny because you got me right back in education. I'm right back with kids, right? But I'm like, okay, I'm teaching GT kids. I was a gifted kid. Like, this will be cool, small. I can do this. This is cool. And at the same time, I also saw a lot of gaps there. So it was like I said, it was a founding charter. I saw a lot of gaps. I'm the type of person, if I see a gap, I feel it. Like if I need to create a position for myself, I will. So basically seeing all these gaps, like they with them being a founding charter, it wasn't a lot of they didn't have a lot of movement. Their numbers were low, they were still working on enrollment. So I'm like, how can I sell the school, right? So I then create an outreach and engagement position myself. Right now, I'm the outreach and engagement coordinator, and I'm doing all these great marketing things. And I basically do the School of Character application. We become a national School of Character. We go all the way to DC to sit with to shake hands and rub elbows with Frank Bird and Betsy DeVos at the U.S. Department of Education. Super cool experience.
Nice.
So while there, I was also able to do I started working with budgets by doing federal programming. So I was the federal programming coordinator there. So now I'm seeing okay, school doesn't always have to be teaching, right? Like it doesn't have to be just in a classroom. So I then, got all the experience that I could. And then I basically kind of just worked myself up to a point to where I topped out there. So I just started looking for other means of the same things that I was doing, but in different places. So at the time, one of my colleagues was working to open a charter. She had just got her charter application accepted for TEA. And so she and I basically came together to open a charter. I was looking for it was the perfect role. I was looking for something. She needed someone to do the business and ops side. So when we first started, it was just she and I. We didn't have a location. We were selling something that wasn't even tangible, literally selling a dream. But we were so passionate, so excited, to give back to kids, to be able to say hey, we have a school, and that's kind of what got me where I am today. And so that was 4 years ago. And so now we are fully founded charter. We started with
Yeah.
pre-K 4 through second grade. We now have pre-K 4 through fifth grade students. We have our permanent home, which is located in Houston's 3rd Ward, one of Houston's most historic Black areas. Our school, we do cater to students with low socioeconomic backgrounds because they're the kids that need us, right? And then also the area that we're in has the largest academic achievement gap. So we're there to help close that gap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. I love it. I heard a few great things in that wonderful answer and prelude to a great conversation. I basically heard you say, which was one of the things that I really push, and actually the name of one of my poem books. You all dream with desire, dreaming with desire. Dream season. It's dream season, and you all dreamt with desire. You saw a vision, you stepped forward, and you went for it, and that's amazing in itself. So I definitely commend that. Another thing that I heard you say, and I want to take a break right here and help some of the people who are viewing, because I didn't do it at the top of the show. I always generally do it at the top as well as at the end of the show. But I heard you say, you talked about when you were starting out, there were doubts, there were things that came into your head. You basically heard things that doubt creeped into your head. So with that, I want to stop and share some affirmations with the followers, and I'd like us to model that. And remember that, first off, I am a leader. Would you all repeat, I am a leader? I study my craft, and I strive for excellence. I was telling one of my relatives about affirmations the other day and the power of consistently using them, not just saying them one day or on a blind date, but saying them all the time, making it a part of your daily routine, and the power that that can have in lifting yourself up, because again, we're dependent on that. So I appreciate you making those great points in that opening answer. And with that, I think you kind of alluded to it, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more. What's your motivation? What's your motivation in doing all of that?
The children, right? Like literally putting children first. I come from a school where you're not, I'll say a school or a place where, it's very little exposure to a lot of things, we weren't given a lot of opportunities. Nobody told us we could be doctors. Nobody told us we could be lawyers. We were told go to college, do these things, but nobody told us that like we could be great. So I think I do it for those kids that don't know that they can be great.
I love it. I love it. They need to hear it. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Definitely to voice those intentions more. What are some challenges that you all faced in laying the groundwork for a successful charter and a great school organization?
Whew. How much time you say we got?
People need to know.
How much time did you say we have here?
Here's a few points.
Oh my goodness. I would say one of the major challenges is more so the funding. Literally, that would probably be your hardest challenge as a charter. A lot of families are looking for reasons. The districts aren't doing what we need them to do. Like let's be honest, education doesn't look the same anymore, and the districts are still using an education design that didn't work when I was in school, and that was 15 years ago, and it wasn't working 20 years before I was there. Right. So with that being said, a lot of the things that we need to provide to our kids, we can only do on a smaller scale because of the lack of funding, or having the startup. Like we have to get out and we have to rub elbows. We have to shake hands. It's not just given to us, we have to literally find that funding ourselves. And then another thing I would actually say is like building. One of the other things I would actually say for me, I'm a people person, but also, building connections. A lot of people who have charter systems, they don't, or run charter schools, they're in areas that they're not necessarily from, right? So you don't start with the connections in the community, so you have to build your way and build these connections and build this rapport. So it's a lot of hard work, and then you're still struggling and fighting with the district, like when the goal should be that we're all educating kids, but it's not seen that way when it comes from a charter school to a district school.
Definitely. And I'm seeing some comments in the StreamYard feed that are really liking what you're saying. And thank you, Miss Oliver, for your comment, as well as Dr. Sheikah Houston from Create and Educate. We appreciate you all chiming in. Definitely appreciate that. And everyone else that is in, if you have not told us where you're from, please put that in the chat. Definitely want to know that as well. Okay, and with that, I saw renovation projects going on at your school, and that was really exciting because you were able to show myself, as well as I think you had an assistant principal or one of your administrators with you, some of the upgrades that you all had made and the work that was being put in. Can you kind of tell us what a renovation project looks like, whether it's planning, prioritizing, or what have you?
Okay. So our project that we've been working on when we originally opened, like I said, we're 4 years into operation. So year one, we found a temporary location in the city of Houston. To find a good place for a school is like pulling teeth, especially in inner city areas. For one, there's no zoning laws in Houston, right? So you like, do I want my school next to this or different things like that? So we were in a temporary location in which we shared a school with another charter school called A Plus Up, which we love them, by the way. So if anybody on here, you in Houston need a middle school, A Plus Up, I do recommend them. But we shared a campus with them, and like I said, it was always a temporary location. So we were on the bottom floor, they were on the top floor. We had about 10,000 square feet, but again, it was always temporary. So when we continued to look and find, from this location, we had a broker to help with us to find like different places of real estate and areas, and so we lucked up, honestly. And when we got St. James Church, which is a pillar to the community that we're in, they've been there for years. So we were able to get into a long-term deal with them in which we were able to do major renovations to the building. So year 2 and 3, we basically worked with contractors to draw out what that would look like. Like, what does the design look like? What does our classroom look like? Do we want backpack hooks or do we want cubbies? Do we want our library upstairs? Do we want it downstairs? What color do we want on the floors? What color do we want the baseboards, the walls? All of those things had meaning, right? And it felt really good because we were able to choose these things. And we were able to choose these things in creating something that was really a school of our own.
Yeah, yeah. And as a principal, I had an opportunity to work with a couple of renovation projects. So I saw how it panned out at the end, working with the operations team or what have you. With that being said, and maybe we can make this a little more clear for those that are watching, how does that connect the facility renovations, the upgrading of your facilities, the renovation projects? How does that connect with student and teacher performance?
Okay, it has been a roller coaster, right? Because that first year, when we were solid, we had some of our best data in regards to like student. Honestly, it was our best year. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if it was because it was fresh, it was new, everything was like we were running around like fairies throwing sprinkles, like it was our best year. Our kids performed like some of like our data was literally off the charts in regards to like the national averages of students, not just kids in Houston, but like our map data, our star data. It was phenomenal. But we were more grounded, we were more solid, right? We had a very small staff, very small student group, so it was easy to like put our hands on things and have more personal relationships. And literally we had time to live coach to not just necessarily that we're not live coaching now, but we had time to live coach to fidelity, right? Like we could have been in classes for an hour if needed. We had a lot more time because we weren't focusing on other things, right? So with that was a lot of obstacles. As we continue to grow and things continue to change, it was a lot of pieces, a lot more moving pieces, right, that we weren't used to. And mind you, this is still our first time taking this trip, so we don't know the shortcuts yet, right? So we're still trying to figure things out as we go. We're bringing on more staff members, we're taking on different types of personalities and learning styles, and we're dealing with people that are, oh, this is my first year teaching and I don't know what I'm doing, and then also this is my 50th year teaching, so you can't tell me what I'm doing. So we also, with that became our families. The transition, at one point we were literally in a split campus, like where some of our students were being dropped off at the new building because that side had been renovated, and other students were being dropped off at our old building, and we had to get transportation for that, like to to help our families out. It wasn't their fault that the building wasn't ready, so that's just a few of the challenges that we've had to face.
Wow, wow. And I heard you mention RTC, real time coaching or live coaching. There are numerous terminologies for it, but I want to pause right there for just a moment because in order to implement RTC or real time coaching, that means that you have a great culture of collaboration in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that you can successfully implement real time coaching. And I heard you talk about the excitement that was going on during that particular year. So I applaud you all, you guys, you and your team for being able to implement real time coaching. Feelings get hurt with real time coaching.
Yeah.
And in
It's
order
it's
for
it's not
us,
easy. It's not
not
easy to
easy,
do.
it's
It
not
was
easy.
something that, again, it was something I wasn't used to, but I saw the benefits of it quickly. Like, when I say quickly, I mean quickly, and I'm like, where was this when I was a teacher, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you say, it's not easy to do, even on my side as a leader. And then also, I've been in positions, because I'm still growing as a leader. I've been in positions where it's not, I know what it feels like to be able to have to take that feedback in the moment.
Yes, yes, yes. So that is wonderful right there. Um, as a leader in school operations, what are some of the qualities that you feel like are essential to being successful in your role?
Oh, I would say being able to organize the chaos. So they call me the chaos coordinator, right?
I like it.
So I would say that that's one of the most essential pieces, is like being able to organize the chaos, problem solving. How are you quick on your feet? Like, how can you think strategic in a moment? Like, can you, if we're having a problem, like, can you come up with a plan A, B, and C right there in that moment? So I would say that those are some of the most strategic things, because the only routine thing about school is the schedule. Every outside of that daily schedule, the fact that school starts at this time and it ends at that time, every single day is different. So you have your basic systems and routines in place, but there's an outlier every day, and you have to be able to, like, organize that chaos and just be able to strategic thinking, literally.
Organize the chaos. Think strategically. Problem solving, critical thinking. Those are great buzzwords. Those are also part of your college readiness standards. Those are standards, those are words and implementation that carry us through life. I love where you are, Miss Bender. I love what you're doing.
Thank
Continue
you.
to speak life into the audience. You all, if you just listen, we bringing you value every single week to take with you and use every single week. We got some more comments in the chat. We got Green Tree Solutions. Miss Ashley Green is in there. We definitely appreciate it. Miss Crystal Reddick, Lady Reddick, we definitely appreciate you watching from Boston, Massachusetts as well. So we definitely appreciate everyone that's in the comments and that are joining in. Um, you taught English, and we touched a little bit on it prior, and just to kind of go back through so that our viewers can continue to make that connection to the academic portion as well as the structure pieces or the organizational leadership piece, or in your case, the operational management pieces that go. How did that experience serve you in your position?
So as you said earlier, you don't meet a lot of operations people who've taught before.
Right.
So I think that it gives me an advantage, like a lot of, and I looking back in my past experiences, right? And I look at my ops managers, and they didn't understand the urgency of a teacher needing pencils. You know what I mean? I
Right.
understand that because I've been in that position before. And I think that that's the sweet spot that a lot of operations people don't have. I have the empathy for teachers that a lot of them don't. Most operations people are straight, it's all business. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times when it's black and white, I have to be black and white. You get that. But teachers on the other side, especially in the school world, lower elementary, it's more so, like I said, it's the sprinkles, so being able to empathize with them, like, hey, you need some erasers, you ran out of erasers, okay, we can get you that, like, don't worry, it's not, it's the simplest of things that they need that will help make their job easier. And like I said, I've been there, even if it's something as simple as a tweak in the dismissal system, right?
Mhm.
I've been there, I've been on both sides, so I completely understand it.
Wonderful. Again, great uh, collaborative expressions there because it's a journey. It's not a one-time event. Collaboration is something you have to do over and over again. Continue to work. People continue to build them up. Continue to put them in those positions where you can be successful. I hear you. I hear you speaking that life, Miss Bender. We appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Um, with that, how do you see um, yourself continue to evolve? How you see yourself continue to evolve from English teacher, how you operations, you already helped to form a charter school, which is outstanding. How do you see yourself continue to evolve?
I would love to continue the work like in other areas. Again, where I would love to bring a charter home to Mississippi, especially Pachuta, Heidelberg area, Jasper County. We need it, right? Like, I would love to do things like that. There's a wonderful group of like educators in the area that I know would make an awesome school. And but even before having my own school, in the meantime, again, I would just like to show people how I did it. Like, I would just love to be able to be that helping hand, be the, there were a lot of situations that I was in that, again, I had to just figure it out on my own. There wasn't a rule book. Again, we're a one-off charter. I didn't have a sister charter that I could say, hey, can you send me a handbook? I had to create a student and family handbook. I had to create a staff handbook. The simplest of things that the state is requiring, attendance manuals and things like that. I don't know, I didn't know what these things were, so I had to literally figure these things out and learn these things myself. So if I can be that assistance of someone else and helping them get started and provide the same things to kids that we did, if not better, that's exactly how I can see myself continuing to grow.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I continue to do what I've been doing for 20 plus years now as well. That's the crust of why I've written my books. Because the dip approach for student and adult success, I had to learn that stuff on my own. Coming from a small town in Mississippi as well, Clarksville, Mississippi, the home of the blues. Like you said earlier, no one told me. They only told us to work hard, keep your head down, stay out of trouble, do what you're supposed to do. But there's a lot of other things that you can do as well. And dreaming with desire, initiating, investing in yourself, being able to push past the pain that you're sure to occur. Because so many times, especially in our communities, when that pain hits or when we go through things, we just shut down. We don't realize that there are options, there are ways that we can push ourselves through that pain and still be well and still be emotionally well after going through it. And of course, persisting with the purpose that we have for ourselves. What what advice would you give? Because you actually touched on it a little bit earlier. You felt like you were ready for a change. You wanted to do something different and still remain in education. What advice would you give someone who's wanting a transition that still loves education, that still wants to have an impact as well as input on what students need and what teachers need to be successful? What advice would you give?
I would actually say to volunteer to do it first. And I say that because if you are truly passionate about something and it's something that you really want to do and you are really into that work, the amount of money, who's around you, your team leaders, who you're working with, none of that will matter. And I would say that volunteering or just giving your time, like, hey, go to a school, hey, find an ops person, connect with them. Hey, can I shadow you for a day or two? I just, want to get a feel for you, things like that, because it is a lot of work, and it does look a lot different. So I would most definitely say to shadow someone, volunteer first, just to see what it feels like before you step into it.
That's great advice. Shadow someone. Go out and seek the knowledge that you know you need to have.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in a position, you know that there's amount of requirements, there's amount of knowledge that you must have. So you've got to, I hear you saying you've got to seek that knowledge, and it may not be a price tag associated with it.
Mm-mm.
Because if you're doing it from your heart and because you love what you do, you're gonna make sure that you accomplish that goal and you get that information. So
Exactly.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all are listening out there. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, because our people need it, our educators need it, because as we influence educators, that directly impacts student achievement across the board. Across the board. So, viewers, we appreciate you today, Miss Memry Bender. All right. Some closing thoughts as we prepare to come to a close today. What would you like to add? What would you like to say to pound home some of the points that we've talked about? We've covered quite a gamut. We talked a little bit uh, about a lot. We talked a little bit about a lot, from educational to the organizational side. You mentioned the renovation projects. Uh, we didn't necessarily get into purchasing per se, although we did talk a little bit about buying some things. What would you like to add to the crust of the conversation?
For anyone who is looking to open your own school or anything like that, I would say again, starve your doubts. Literally starve your doubts. Step out on faith and do it. Kids out there are so many kids out there that need great schools, especially free public charter schools. There are kids out there who really need that form of education, and they don't have it. They don't have any other option other than the school that's right next door. Um, and another thing that I would have to say is get a good team. And that's whether you are working in a charter system, starting your own educational consulting firm. Your team makes a difference. As you said earlier, Doc, collaboration. Like, if you have a good team, you can do everything. And with a good team, it's more so like people knowing their roles, right? No matter how big or how small. I tell people all the time, I always use the car analogy, like, you may not be the full motor, but I cannot run without my alternator, right? Like, so, you know what I mean? Just because you're not the motor, I still need a battery to get around. Like, you still have a very important part to play. So I'm always big on team building and creating a great team. So I think that those are two jewels that I would like to leave with this, with the
Love it, love it,
topic.
love it. Team building, team building. And that's awesome advice. And I guess I just like to add to that, being able to recognize your team members' strengths and struggles is very crucial in making that happen. And I tell the viewers weekly about the global DNA leadership assessment that I offer as well, to kind of accelerate that collaboration process within your team. So we definitely appreciate that mention, because it's not what your leadership style is, it's how you use it, it's how you understand how it impacts others, because leadership goes right along with self-awareness. The better and more self-aware I am, the better I can lead and work with and through others to empower them, because that's what leadership is about. We've got Bilal Brown Mr. Brown, we appreciate you. One of the greats over there in the fellowship program. We've got Mr. Curtin as a retired public educator. And Brother Curtin, he's actually been on the show. He's a recurring guest, so we appreciate retired Superintendent Curtin. Seen firsthand how crucial organizational leadership capacity is shaping school climate. Great positive energy. Yes, yes, yes. Definitely great positive energy. All right. Anything else, Miss Bender? Anything else? I definitely like you to let the people know how they can contact you if they want some services, some advice. You obviously have a wealth of knowledge and information, and you're actually in the fire doing the work every single day.
Yes, feel free to reach out to me. I can leave my email when he does share this. I can make sure that my email and my work contact, all of my information is included in the body of the post. But yes, feel free. I am most definitely here to ask any questions. If you have questions now, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm most definitely available to answer.
Okay. With that being said, you all, I definitely want to ensure that first off, I want to leave you with my information as well, so that you can have it again. Professional development, keynote speaking, whether it be speaking to adults or students. That's what I do. Also, the global leadership assessment, have a number of those, and again, that helps leaders, superintendents, principals, teachers. That helps you form that basis for to accelerate that improvement. So again, thank you. Let's end, you all. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do our affirmations. We've got to do our affirmations, you all. This is a habit that you must pick up. And that's whether you already have the confidence you need or whether you've got to pump it in you because you are what you continually say you are. You are that. If you repeat after me, I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I study my craft.
I study my craft.
I strive for excellence.
I strive for excellence.
Yes, indeed. You all be inspired, be motivated. We appreciate everyone for coming with us today. Speaking Life into You Leadership live stream, again featuring Miss Memry Bender today. I hope you got the value that you need. Y'all have a great, wonderful, productive rest of your evening, and may the week be good to you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. We'll talk in a back. Let me see.